there is some revelation. I don't want to say it's a revelation. Something I want to share with all of us, which concerns one of us who appeared and disappeared, and one of the reasons for stepping back is because Duane will often give some accolades, talk about uh, those who have stepped up and they are doing this and that and they're doing great. And in fact, it didn't go well with this individual, and the individual stepped back and he says it seemed as if uh, she was not doing anything at all, or others were not doing anything, and even cited me, uh, cited Mariam, Chris, Kelsey. Uh, the spotlight will only be on these people, and to the detriment of others, uh, and all that stuff. So I want to ask Ben whether he thinks pinpointing certain things others have done or are doing, is it not is it productive or counterproductive?
Well, it's not about neither. Again, see, those are opposites, aren't they? Is that what you're looking for? Production? No, we're not into production. And just like on Facebook, we're not into like or dislike. It's not about that. It all breaks down to one thing, doesn't it? Choice. The individual, just like Joseph or many others, they made a choice. See? When Harry's on stage doing his little program talks from Joni, does he mention anybody else? Does he mention other people in the membership, so to speak? Once in a while he may. Okay, he may. But it's really all about him. He's really the star attraction. And that's where Joni wants to keep the center, you see. See, when you keep control of the masses, it's best to keep a control on, I won't say the leader, because these people aren't leaders. It's like, where are they leading them? On the controller, on the so-called master. A master is a controller, too. That's what it's become. The masters have become controllers. The masters, the gurus, the Dalai Lama, etc. All these people are bought off. And that's fine. That's a choice. That's not a put down. I'm not putting Harry down, or the Dalai Lama, or the Pope, or whatever. Hey, they have the right to decide whatever they want. The end result is just it. If they want to make people believe that they're this or that, or that they're wonderful and benevolent like the President of the United States, go right ahead. But really, it's realistically what it is. And so all it takes is one attitude. In other words, compare what people decide with the isness life is. Okay? Does the isness change from what I say about anybody or anything or whatever, no matter what I say or what I present, no matter what it is? Does the isness itself change? Does the sun not shine? You see? That's what people don't see. So what is this person really seeing? They're seeing themselves. And you know what it is? Is that they really, at this time, they don't have the courage to step up and do something. So it's easier for them to make up ideas and push themselves away. Well, they create that themselves, don't they? They really do. And there was George knows this higher initiate, and he talked about it in the groups, that really doesn't like me, basically hates me, because I supposedly ruined the lives of others by the very fact trying to warn them about what's taking place with the corporation. Well, they don't like that because they have this emotional attachment to Harry and Jones Corporation that, you know what, it's like I'm interfering with them, so they're upset, which they've decided themselves. I didn't decide it. I'm just trying to warn them and give them a reference, but they've decided that I'm the bad guy and they're upset because of it. And it's like, well, Duane upset me. Realistically, they upset themselves. And so again, so they go into a tailspin because they've decided to do that. Hey, if they start drinking or taking drugs, I didn't do it to them. They decided to do that themselves. Everybody decides something. Seriously, at times when I look at what I go through and what I've been through to get here and to do this and to deal with the world every day, I'm surprised I'm not an alcoholic myself, because that's easy to bury yourself in the bottle. Yeah, realistically, I look at it, it's like, this is nuts. I don't want things to be like this. You know what? It would be easier if I could just be a being of light. I see that. I'll just be a being of light walking around. But then again, if I do nothing and just be the being of light like the sun shining, exactly like the sun shining, are people going to be able to relate and recognize my presence? You see? No. So you got to break it down. And when you start to break it down, okay, there's going to be confrontation, because now you're dealing with cause and effect. And so really, what does it break down to individually? People making a choice. These people have made a choice, and lots of times it's just an excuse to do nothing. And really, it really is. It's like you raise a child to a certain point, and then at a certain point, they're 20, 25 years old, and you tell them, it's time for you to go out and get a job. It's like, and they'll remark to you, because they've already been grooved and very passive and watching TV and playing their video games. You know what? Up yours. I ain't doing it. You hate me. Why are you always telling me this? It's like you don't love me anymore. And it's not even about that. It's not about any of those things. Those are just ideas made up. And what are they really? Excuses for the individual to do nothing and to stay as they are, because that's how they've been raised. And so, yes, I would say it's time to get real. Look at the sun shining. The decision that these people made, Charles, and I'm glad you brought this up, because you decide, and that is, look at the sun shining compared to the decision they made. Does it make sense? Does the sun shining make sense, or does their decision make sense? You tell me.
This statement was, I think I should call a name here to make things very clear, very clear. I just took upon myself to ask this individual why. That was on Skype. I said, "Oh, for long you've not attended the Skypes. Is there anything wrong? Maybe you went on holiday or caught up in some job exigencies or what?" Oh, so it's Tenya wrote to me saying, "Oh, he was not longer part of the new presentation, the way it's been the way Duane only favors others, and the spotlight is only on some people, and to the detriment of others who make honest efforts and all that." And even went on to say, "Oh, Duane is manipulating people, manipulating Chris, manipulating Kelsey, and all the like." I just looked at it, and I knew she maybe she had some ambition that was not satisfied, and said because she said, even you, Charles, uh, seems you're the favored people, and Mariam, Chris, Kelsey, the spotlight is only on you, and then it seems Duane is even unrespectful of women, all that stuff. So I was very surprised. I just set out to say at least we are all new friends, and you can ask after another person say, but what's happening? I'm not saying I've not seen you for this for a few weeks. What's happening? Because we had a good rapport. She would write to me, share her dream visions, and give some warnings about things she had seen. About Mariam, she could not write to Mariam directly because Mariam would not understand her English, so asked me to uh, translate into French and send to her. And I did that, and I, I think her inner real side experiences were really fantastic, and they helped to shed a lot of light. They helped warn Mariam about certain things. But when she said this, I was really surprised. But I was not very surprised. I was not much surprised because I had known that she was doing regression therapy, and I've read about it, and I know that the practitioner could be at the mercy of the dark forces. And when this happened, I just knew that uh, she had fallen into the trap. And I think I had even asked Duane in one of the Skypes. I even talked about this kind of work. Is it not dabbling with the dark forces? And Duane said it's not his business to control what anybody is doing in their private life. And I really, I really saw with him, but I knew that one day maybe something like this will happen to me because I had read about it. So that is uh, my share. It has taken me so many months, more than 6 months, to bring this up.
I think it's fine, Charles. Let me say something on this, and this is not to, justify anything. First of all, uh, yes, it's like a business, and you have a room where the business is taking place, and the door is open, okay? And for whoever comes into that room, they are recognized. It's like, oh, you've come to join the business. Oh, it's Bob, it's Kelsey, it's Bill, it's Chris, it's whoever. Those are the people that are no longer standing outside the room, but they've stepped into the room. Okay, and this person you're referring to, I did the same thing for them, etc. That anybody that steps up, because again, it's like a business. In other words, we support each other. I can't relate so much so to those people that don't step up because it doesn't make sense because we only have so much time to do this. Okay, so that's one view. That's one way to look at it. Okay, so yes, I spotlight those people that have stepped up, like the people that are here. For the most part, they have stepped up, and there's some that, they're doing their own thing or whatever. But I spotlight them because they have stepped up. They share, they do something. This is a team effort. That's what it's like. It's like a business in the physical sense. And it would be to where, oh yes, the president of the corporation is controlling everybody else. Yeah, that's what many of the membership of the corporation have said about Ava. Oh, you're hypnotized, Ava. Duane has hypnotized you. I've said many times, nobody's obligated to do anything. No one has to do anything at all. Don't do it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Just go do your thing, whatever. I will just keep doing this. But I so appreciate people doing it. But again, I can't explain that, but people can see my real intent. And another view is take anybody that has children, and I know this person has children. And so, you know, I'm doing the best that I can, and you see all the attitudes coming at me, and I keep referring to the is, I keep referring to Rebazar Tars, and people ask them, just go get your own confirmations. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything, and it's just like a mother or woman. Again, I've said many times that, I admire women because it's the hardest job in the world, especially when they have children. Because this is a man's world and it's brutal, and for women it's huge. And so women that step up, this is great courage for them. It's easier for men because again, it's a man's world. I see that. And women are at the mercy of so much of this. I see that too. And so, and especially women that have children. Now let's take an example of women that have children. And that is that the children go through all kinds of things, don't they? They get into, and even sometimes into legal situations the children get their parents into. And so, for the most part, the parents are going to schmooze it over. They're going to justify it. Oh, it's my child. I've got to protect him, whatever. No matter what it is, even if they robbed a bank and they went to jail, the mother's still there, right? Schmoozing it over. It's like, oh, he's really a good boy, etc. Still schmoozing it over. But here, I'm presenting something wonderful to the world, and anybody can do whatever they want with it. But all of a sudden, yeah, it all comes back to me. I'm the bad guy. You see, it's like, oh, Duane's doing this, and he's controlling others, and he's doing this or whatever. Is where does that attitude come from, realistically? Look on the real side. Where does that come from? Does that make sense? I see what's going on with many things, and yeah, there's a lot of control in the world. And there is an aspect of control in the physical sense. There has to be some kind of conformity or restriction or order to things, of course. Just like when we drive down the road, we're going to need a traffic signal at the crossing. But, picking on every little thing, but overall, okay, see, yes, I am doing the best I can to relate to people, and look at the people that have become the greatest witnesses. And it's not about me. It's about the isness life is. We have all stepped up to recognize, hey, there is something else bigger than us, you see? And so this is where people, again, for some reason, maybe it's they feel inferior, and I dealt with this with my previous wife too. She had this inferiority complex, you might say, and because she would tell me sometimes, well, all these teachers at school, they know all these big words, and they know so much, and, she was raised on a farm, but, she worked her way, went to Long Beach State, got her degree, did it, whatever, and I said, hey, it doesn't matter about those words, and it doesn't matter about what they know or whatever. I said, look at yourself. You're wonderful. You go out there, you teach the kids, you're fine. It doesn't matter what you know. You have stepped up, you've went through this. But again, she always felt inferior. And at times, she never really went out into the public like I did and spread the message, so-called at the time, of what Paul presented. And that was her choice. She didn't want to do that. She held back. I would say that she felt rather reluctant or self-conscious of that. I get it. So did I. I was totally nervous. But you know what? You might say my heart led me, because you know what? I pulled myself past the restrictions and the fear that I had to constantly go through. And hey, I'm facing the world now. You think I'm comfortable with this? I'm not at all, but I just keep going until they get rid of me or whatever comes first. And so I'm not justifying my position, fine. But you know what? I cannot remedy, I cannot equate to what people decide for themselves. And I'm constantly saying it in so many different ways in the hints. Look to the as, look to the real side, whatever, and if you're shown certain things, hey, Just like the experience that Sam shared yesterday, where this individual, this lady, was sitting there talking to the devil, and they were looking through the album, and it's like, look at this, and look at this, and look at that. Oh, Duane's doing the same thing. He's doing the same thing as all these people here. And she's not agreeing because she sees past that. But the thing is that you can agree. It's like, oh yeah, he is, isn't he? Oh yeah, it's all devil worship. And you can think whatever you want. Is that what you want to think? Is that what Rebazar Tars is into? This is where like Claudia's come up especially. This is where the boys came to her. She saw all this, and she's went through all this hell, through this unknown for the longest time, and now it's showing up. Everything is showing up very real and very matter of fact because she sincerely asks. And so ask her, or whatever. The boys already know, she becomes another witness. You see, we all need to witness each other. You see, I support you by verifying you, okay, and what you're doing and experience. You support me by verifying me, and this confirms this reality, you might say. This is a confirmation of recognition. This is part of it. And by that very fact, this reality comes into being within us. And it's not that everybody else is going to know. No, it's a risk-taker position. There's no guarantees. And this is what people want. And so I understand the personal self. And so I try the best I can to motivate people past it. And this individual, she also put herself into certain situations that I warned her about, but she didn't listen. And now she's in them and she has to deal with them. And it's on a personal level. So it's a choice. And I really respected this person. I saw her as, there's only certain unique individuals, and everybody else kind of has to struggle for it. But I see everybody the same. I do. But again, look to the real side, or don't. And you know what? I don't care what people say about me, right or wrong, or hate me. Even Joni, it's fine. I don't care. The Pope, the Kellam God, etc. I see them as beings of light. I see what they're doing, and it's fine. Do your worst. I don't really care. That's not the idea. I'm not here to remedy that, but I am here to take on the challenge. So, by the very fact of whatever's taking place, I get to have the privilege to create the best reference that I can for people to wake up. See, I will take that on. I will confront it. I'm not for or against anything here. I see the is. It's all the isness, but it's all choice also. And all I'm trying to do is share something that makes sense and give people the hint. So, hey, you don't have to keep agreeing to your self-made restrictions. And so if you have one idea at all, and it's just like Paul would say, when you're ready to leave this world, and if you hold on to one idea, it's going to bring you back. It don't matter what that idea is. It can be like, oh, I love the flowers and the lilies of the field. Boom, you're right back. You see? It's a cute idea, wasn't it? Or was it? Brought you right back, maybe for another 50 lifetimes of still struggling and unaware. You know what? Let it go. Let every idea go and stand real and shine like the sun. Gee, it's so simple. And then let's just do what we do in creation to make the best sense of what we can. But you know what? It's not going to come out perfect. You raise children, whatever, you do the best you can, and the mothers are trying to do this or that, but you know what? Things are going to happen. And you be ready for that. Things are going to happen all the time. I'm ready for all this nonsense that comes at me, and you know what? I'm fine with it. Let them hate me, and they do. Most of the world hates me, but you know what? I got their attention, and I know what's real. And so again, you know what? I realistically do it because this is how it works, like an MLM. In creation and all of life, it's like an MLM. And that is that I support Rebazar Tars and the Real Guides. By the very fact that I support them, they support me, and this is how it works. So as they go along, I take their place, and they go along further because, you know what, I support them. That's my real intent. And I've been with Rebazar, and I've told him, I said, I do this for you. So we always have the big challenge, Charles. That's what I see. You always have the challenge. Nothing is completed in life. It's a challenge. So until you see the endlessness life is, you have the challenges to see it. And so it just depends upon the person if they will take on the challenge to see it properly. And then you know what? It all clears away. And just like a mother raising her children, yeah, the children went through this and that. At some point in their life, when they're 20 or 30, they all get together and they're sitting at dinner and they're laughing about all those little things they went through, right? They really are. I'm fine with whatever the world is doing. I don't care what the presidents do or the Pope or the dark side and destroying the world. I can't stop that. That's fine. I'll sit and have a discussion with them. I've talked to the Black Pope on the real side. He listened. The number 2 guy didn't. He was really arrogant. But the Black Pope says, hey, the number 2 guy kept interrupting and say, you don't want to listen to this guy. He goes, hey, I'm the man here. I'll decide. You go away. He listened, but it doesn't mean he's going to act. He's going to weigh it. But the thing is, it's a huge step for him to wake up, and this was many, many years ago. And so, again, I don't waste my time with them. I'm focused on all the people here that are real, that step up. Again, those who walked into the room that are saying, hey, you know what? Let's do this together. Let's do a project with the natural environment. Let's do something real while we're here, instead of just sitting around watching the world die. So I would say that all these little personal issues that people have, hey, have fun with them. But the end result is, guess what? That goes into your subconscious. You're going to add emotion to it, and now it becomes your anchor. And where is that going? Nowhere. Goes absolutely nowhere. Yeah. So now you got to deal with it. So I would say this is why we have the projects, to get people off of their personal self, out of this area. This helps. These are hints and references to get people into the real universes. And as you step up with what is taking place now, this new nowness, the new presentation, this is a real benefit to help you eventually recognize this reality more so than just your personal self and what profits I'm going to make, off of the demise of the world. When the stock market is going down, and things are happening, and this tragedy over there, maybe they harped Haiti or something like that. Who ran in there? Let's say the Clintons and whatever. They made all kinds of money off of the disasters of others. Is that what you want to be a part of? Making a profit off the disasters of others? Hey, go for it. Have fun. Now you're an accomplice. You got to deal with it consciously or unconsciously. All I'm trying to do is share with people how to wake up to what's going on, so that you are no longer the effect of all this. But you decide you want to keep being the effect of it. You want to keep creating these cute little ideas and just sit there on Facebook and like this, like that, like that. Is that it? Why not share these wonderful images with Rebazar and whatever that we're doing, Ava and I, or something like that, that relates to this isness, and then learn to recognize this reality. You have the choice.